Hi friends, Donna Reiners here. And I'm getting texts and phone calls from people that feel this strong shifting taking place. I remember months ago a friend of mine saying that she saw something happening in March and she felt like it would be a good thing, a happy thing. And so far it's not been happy. And so that's been a little incongruent with what she felt. And then I've been getting phone calls and texts from people asking me, well, what is going on? Because they have this happening and they have that happening and they have this shifting and that shifting. And then there are some there's transition taking place, whether at home or in their health or at their work or in their friendships. And they don't know what to do. And so I've been chewing on it, because I'm like, well, I know what I have going on. I know I have shifting going on. I know I have change going on. I'm like, how do I respond? And so I've been looking at it and I've been seeing how these pieces want to draw me in, like pieces, instead of remaining in a place of peace. Because the truth is our circumstances can change from moment to moment. Your circumstances and my circumstances can change quickly. But the question is, do we remain in peace when things shift around us? Can we maintain a place of peace when our circumstances change, when our relationships change, when our situations shift, when our jobs change, when our businesses change? What do we do? I feel like if we will maintain our peace based on the strength within instead of the circumstances outside, that we will be anchored in an unmovable place instead of tossed to and fro with either people's advice or people's opinions or the chaos that happens when we don't know where to go and we don't know what to do and we don't know where to turn. I know that there are times I have felt some real strong pressure lately, a lot of what's going to happen type things. And, I needed an outlet. Yes, I'm a person of prayer, but I also needed an outlet. I needed an outlet for my emotions. I needed an outlet for the thought process I was going through. Some people use what's called a brain dump, where they write down everything they're feeling and everything that's going on. I don't necessarily use that as a tool right now. I have before, I may again. Instead, what I do is paint, but that's my choice. I took my hands and I used my hands with all sorts of paints and I painted all my emotions out over the series of a few days. And that was a place of deep pain and borderline confusion because there are other things happening beyond what I was feeling. And then recently I took that and I shifted all of that into a place of purpose, away from the pain, and a place of strength and resilience instead of wanting to move into confusion. And so I just want to encourage you, when you get hit with something, and we do, to move into a place of peace that's found only on the inside. Your peace will not be in the opinion of someone else. Even if they carry peace and they help you maintain peace, that's an awesome thing. I love that. But if you're accustomed to only turning to people to vent, to have a safe place to just share all your emotions, that may not be a place of actual peace for you. That just might be a safe place where you feel you can just let yourself go and let yourself be in a place of community, which is important. But you don't always get your advice from people that live in peace. So if you'll remain in peace, over time, whatever's happening will shift again. The constant in our lives is change. That's a constant. People's opinions of you and I change. People's thoughts and opinions are changed by what other people say. But at the end of the day, you have to know you, and you have to have peace with you. And you have to have the purpose within you, for you, for you, for you. And in that place of purpose, if you have a place of peace, then when these things shift outwardly, you're more likely not to lose your mind, okay? You're more likely to make decisions that are made out of a place of calm instead of a place of pieces or a place of chaos. And so number one, when things start shifting, take a deep breath. Or maybe you anticipate shifting. I've anticipated shifting. Was it leaning into shifting, or was it leaning into, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God? But I sensed change. I sensed shifting. So I've been leaning into truth and leaning into peace when I see the shifting. So take a deep breath when you're facing something that is outside of the norm, or maybe suddenly something's happened, or something you didn't count on, something that was like, whoa, well, that wasn't what I thought. Take a real deep breath and look at it in the face. Don't ignore it. Don't avoid it. Don't go, well, I'll get to that later, because it'll just be there later then, and it'll just cause you angst later. But if you'll face it straightforwardly, immediately, and quickly, and come to a place of peace inside regarding all those pieces that are trying to shift and get your attention, or turn you into a confused person, or bring chaos into your private world or your public world, you can stop it before it begins. And then after you take a deep breath, and then after you face it, then you might need to take a pen and pad, and you might need to look at it. You might need to write down some things. You might need to decide, is this really what I want? Is this direction I want to take? And if you don't have a choice, if those choices are removed from you, and you just have to do X, Y, or Z, then inside of you, look at a place of peace where you can remain peaceful in those lanes, even though you're not your favorite. And maybe in those lanes that are not your favorite, you can still see an avenue of escape later down the road. You can still say, okay, well, this isn't my favorite. This isn't what I want to do long term. This isn't my life. This isn't my purpose. This isn't my passion. But I can see how this can work out for good. And look at what the good can be, that you can gain good from it. You know, we're supposed to be the good news. And sometimes our reaction is so severely opposed to good news, where we only see the negative, and we only see the bad, and we only point out the bad, and we only point out the negative, and we don't see the goodness in that situation, or the goodness that can come from that situation if we'll lean into truth versus lean into the negative attitude. Sometimes we lean into devastation when we're devastated instead of leaning into the one person of peace within that knew that was coming, that wasn't attempting to catch us off guard. You know, God's never sneaking around trying to freak us out. You know, that's not what he's known for. You may think that about him, but that's not the truth. But he knows. And because you have good news living inside of you, if you will lean into that good news instead of the news report, instead of the health report, instead of the opinion of someone else about you or someone else, if you will lean in to the good news and go in the avenue of good news on the inside of you, and you face that bad news with the good news, you face that devastating moment with Father, with the one who lives inside of you, with the one who'll never leave you and never forsake you. face it quickly. And listen, this is the thing. God does not want us stagnant. He doesn't want us just standing there and go, oh, God, woe is me, woe is me. Listen, I know someone, I was thinking about her. If I knew I could bring her on, I would. I know someone who's lost multiple family members over a quick amount of time. And I'm like, how have you walked through that? And you know what her answer was? She said, straight on. I said, what about grieving? And she said, and listen, this isn't everybody, but I'm just being honest. Her perspective is so fascinating. She said, Donna, what would be the purpose of grieving over that? I'm like, well, what do you mean? She said, what would be the purpose of me grieving over the loss of my daughter? What would be the purpose of me grieving and being devastated and holding on to that pain for the weeks, months, years, when I can't change it? What would be the purpose of me allowing that devastation to literally destroy my life and to take my life and to take the passion I have and the purpose I have? And I thought, wow, now that's a perspective. Most of us don't want that perspective. Most of us want to wallow in pain long enough to feel like we've grieved long enough, or feel like we've been angry long enough, or feel like we've honored someone's memory and been devastated long enough for us to feel like it's okay that we move forward, when honestly the truth is that we cannot bring back that person that is no longer with us. I look at the years I lost when my mom passed away. I was young. It was senseless. I was 18. She was only 57. Different than when my dad passed, who was 81, at least had lived life. But my mom, 57, I'm 18, and she was my rock. She was my best friend. She loved me unconditionally. She helped me change. She helped me renovate my mind. But she didn't condemn me. She wasn't negative. She wasn't a critic. And I missed her desperately. And I literally shut down emotionally for 12 years. And my life was on hold for 12 years. And in that time when my life was on hold for those 12 years, guess what I did? I made very horrible decisions regarding my health, regarding my emotions, regarding my relationships, regarding my work. I didn't finish something I had started, which was college. I married someone early that ended up in divorce. I ended up moving to another state where I only met devastation there. We make a lot of decisions out of devastation, see? Because we're not turning to peace when we make those decisions. We're turning to our grief. We're turning to our pain. We're turning to be comforted by pain, comforted by grief, comforted by others who will commiserate in our emotions. And this lady that was telling me, well, she was just going on. I was like, whoa, what a strong decision. Because, my mind is, well, we need to face it, we need to feel it, and then we need to move forward, right? I feel like that's quote unquote healthier. But maybe, just maybe, what she's done is healthier. Maybe she faced it. Maybe she looked at the senselessness of her holding on to grief so long that it would not only destroy her, but also take those in her community with her, right? So she already has lost all these different family members, including one who was her daughter, okay? A daughter who I believe in her 20s. So someone she knew longer than just a little while. And she moved forward. She's living life with passion, with purpose, with intention, fearless. fearless. She refused to allow what happened with her family members and with her daughter to pull her into a cavern of confusion and chaos and pain. And so her life was not stolen. Was her child's life stolen? Yes. Were her family members' lives gone too soon? Yes, absolutely. But she's like, but Donna, what would be the sense of my life being stolen too? And so I'm not real sure who that was for. I did not have any intention to go in that direction, but that came very strongly to me. I just know we're in a season of shift, and we need to be prepared to shift with good news, with a good perspective, with seeing the positive that can come forth instead of the negative, with stopping and recalibrating and coming up with a new decision that would be beneficial instead of reinforcing either negativity or criticism or devastation. And we have wisdom living within us. The Christ within is wise. The person of Father, the person, the God within. There's wisdom there who can help us in our decision making, who can help us walk out our lives with peace, with purpose and passion and a plan, and to help us live longer instead of clinging to living a shorter life feeling like we don't deserve it. I felt like that for years. I felt like, well, why should I have permission to live longer when my mother died so young? And why should I have a healthy life when my sister didn't live long? And then I've even had, which I shared at another time, I've thought, gosh, why is it that I can still walk and remember when I have a sister that is not great at that right now? You know, and I've had to just really just face those things and not allow them to steal what's in front of me. So I just want to encourage you today in your life, in your decision making, make a decision to be stronger and to live longer. Make a decision to take advantage of what's in front of you to help you be stronger, to help you live longer, to recover perhaps what's been stolen from you or what is attempting to steal from you now. And don't allow death to steal from you. Don't allow your own confusion to rob you. Don't allow your own pity for you to rob you. Make practical decisions sometimes. Sometimes it's a practical decision. Something God has been telling me lately is very interesting to me. You know, if these are simple things, and I remember when I first knew God, I mean, I had to fast and pray about everything. So I had to make sure I made the right decision. I was so full of fear. And I just wanted to make sure I was pleasing, make sure I was doing the right thing. And because of that, it really crippled me in some things. And now, 30 years later, I've been over the river and through the woods. And recently, yes, there's times when we just get still. And I'm not saying we don't do those things. I'm just saying that recently God's just been saying to me, Donna, if your teeth, if you haven't brushed your teeth, brush them. And when you get up, brush your hair. When you get up, bathe. I'm doing these things, but I'm just saying he's been talking to me about the practicality. If you don't have money and you can work, get a job. If you can't afford to take care of your health, then do what it takes to be able to take care of your health. I mean, it's just the practical he's not pounding, but he's just saying to me, Donna, some of these things are right in front of you, but you're waiting for a sign. And I'm like, okay, Lord. And so, if your attic is messy, go clean it out. If you have too many books, give some away. If you have dirty clothes, wash them. If your garage is disorganized, organize it. If your desk is a mess, unmess it. Practical things. Because sometimes we just want to spiritualize everything. And this is the other thing that's so interesting to me. Sometimes we're waiting for a rescue mission. Hear my plea, O God, and rescue me from my darkness. When the mind of Christ within us, we are already rescued from darkness. We're rescued from dark thinking. We're rescued from confusion. We're rescued already from those things. And we have to stop and now be practical. Okay, leave the pigsty and go back to the father's house, the mother's house, the place where we can do what we got to do. If we need provision, we got to get provision. Anyway, these are just real practical things. Because in this time of transition, in this time where there's so much happening and we don't know what to do sometimes, we have to figure out what to do. And that's going to require sometimes making decisions that maybe, just maybe, they aren't the right decisions. And sometimes it's the journey of not making the right decisions that gets us to the very place that we've wanted to go all along, because we were willing to take action in an area where we were fearful. Fear is not a leading from God, but, he lives within us and he lives through us. Whether we're fearful or not, the mind of Christ is still right there with us to help us walking out these very difficult decisions, whether it be about our health, because there's some of us facing some very strong things in our health. Whether it be about a job, like what job do I take? Or maybe we're content in the job we have, but it doesn't have the provision that we need and we don't know what to do, right? That requires we have to make a change. We have to shift in order to have different provision. If we stay doing the same exact thing over and over and over again, then we won't have the provision we need, because what we're doing is all that it provides for. And there's sometimes when something shifts and we don't have the provision we used to have, and then we have to rethink things that way as well. So it's all over the map. It's just living from a place of PEACE inside of here, inside of our gut, So I just felt led to just share my heart. And I do not have my glasses on, or I would look to see if anyone is present or if there are any comments or whatever, but I don't have my glasses on. Isn't that awesome? So if you have any prayer requests or anything, you're welcome to comment below. And when I have my glasses, I will look. Or you can private message me, and I'm happy to pray for you. And just don't give up, Don't give in to the thoughts that tell you it's over, or you have no choice, or this is all it'll ever be. Sometimes we just have to make a new decision. And sometimes we have to change our atmosphere and change our situation ourselves. Sometimes we're waiting for our situations to change when we have opportunity to change our own situation. And that can really be scary, because then you're like, oh my God, did I do the right thing? Did I do the wrong thing? All those things that take place inside of the mind when we're trying to sort that out as well. Because sometimes there's serious things, when you're dealing with health issues and you have to choose between this treatment and that treatment, or this and that, that can be scary. When you're dealing with living situations living here, living there, that can be scary. When you're deciding, well, do I sell my house? Do I not sell my house? Do I live here? Do I move there? Those can be serious situations. When you're having job changes and things seem to be shifting, maybe in your work, and you have no control over that, that can be scary. You know, the industry, whatever industry you're in, that can be scary. Gosh, when we had what we had hit a few years ago, that was scary. Everything taken completely out of our hands. And, you know, we had to just figure it out, right? In the midst of others controlling us. That's scary. So in the midst of this atmosphere of, oh my goodness, it's finding the voice of the Christ within and leaning into that thought, into that idea, and listening for the thoughts from God, right? Listening from the thoughts from God, listening for the thought that won't go away. Not the thought of the negative, yucky, thought that won't go away, because that would not be a thought from Father, but the thought that won't go away, that's like simmering in the back of your head, like a pot simmering in the back of the stove. That's an idea, either to prosper your health or prosper your finances or prosper your relationships or give you something for your future or whatever. Those are things you lean into to see, okay, well, what do I do with that? Anyway, practical wisdom, practical advice. Hope this encouraged somebody. If you pop on later, I encourage you to just watch the whole thing in context. I hope that I'll encourage someone today in the midst of shifting and changing. May we be willing to shift and change with the atmosphere of good news and a perspective of goodness, and find God in the midst of those things. I bless you. This is Donna. Until soon. Bye.